Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Career Workshop Part 2, the Holy Trinity of Digital Talent, Biz, Product, and Technology. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Muhammad Taufik or Molly as your host for this session. Welcome back to all of you that have been joining us since in the morning. Okay, so we have started this event since 9:45 a.m. And warm welcome to you for those who just joined with us at the virtual Southeast Asia Career Fair 2022. I hope you are getting more excited because this session, we are going to have one of an alumni from Vietnam who works as head of digital innovation of Heineken Vietnam and graduated from Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University. So later on, I'm going to call and also introduce Luong Phan Hoang, who is going to introduce you to the digital and innovation career path and why digital skills are in high demand in the current and future job market. So this session is going to provide an overview of the roles playing in digital field, whether you are keen on business, product design, or pure technology. Okay, and also the combination of and specialization in each role ensure that an idea can go to the market with speed and value. It can help reinforce the notion that there's always a place for you in the digital and fintech. Without further ado, I would like to say hi and also join with me. Hello, Luong Hun Fan. I may call you Fan now. Hi, Fan.
Yes, hi, Molly. Very nice to see you. Yes, you can call me Phan. Easy to pronounce. I think that's why I don't need an English name when talking to all of my international friends. They're all a big fan of me, so that's why.
There you go. So how are you today, Fan?
I'm good. I'm thrilled actually to be able to be in the conference like this to talk to a lot of the international audience. I mean, every weekend I feel like the recent weekend I join a conference, a different conference. Very recently, so I talked to some university also around customer experience and digital. But this is, I think, the first time this year that I talked to such a wide, a wide array of audience. So very happy, very excited.
True. Yes, because as you can see, our title event virtual Southeast Asia Career Fair for sure. The audience, I bet there's a lot of some of the audience, not only from Indonesia but also from Malaysia, Philippines, even Vietnam, and another Southeast Asia country. Okay, so before you start, I would like to inform to all the audience who are here. If you would like to have a question, please drop or type them through the chat box, and then my colleague will transfer to me, and then we can have the Q&A after a fan presentation. So without further ado, okay, let's have a fan who is going to deliver today's session, the Holy Trinity of Digital Talent, Biz, Product, and Technology. Over to you, Fan.
Molly and everyone, can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see, and we can see very clear of your screen. There you go.
Okay, thank you. So I think just opening, you would like to hear first about me as an alumni from Rotterdam School of Management, Erasmus University. So I went there, I mean, decades ago to study innovation management. And at that time, I don't know what innovation is, to be frank. I was freshly out of school, and then I thought, okay, maybe we need to look at the world. And the Netherlands is such a great place to learn new things, and I'm happy, I'm lucky to be there. So when I coming back to Vietnam, I purposefully looked for jobs in the market regarding innovation, which was also very new field at that moment. Digital, people talked about it at that time, but not a lot of movements happening around there. So fast forward now, I've been mostly in the digital banking industry and just moved to the F&B recently at Heineken Vietnam. also a Dutch company. So I think it's a coincidence by fate. But I'm happy to be there. So I also switch the industry, just so you know. So if you have any questions regarding that, then feel free to input. So for me, the digital and innovation and technology is, I think we all know that this is a new trend of today, right? So when I started at VIB as a local bank in Vietnam, but it is sponsored and supported by the Commonwealth Bank of Australia at that time. They wanted to do a digital transformation that transformed the whole bank work in a new way. And I'm lucky to join the team at that moment, and I can see the transformation from a very local banks work in a traditional way into, I think, a force to be reckoned now at the Vietnamese market with some of the most powerful and most popular digital assets now. If you talk about the digital banking app in Vietnam, definitely not talking at VIB. And then I moved to UOB, the Singapore bank. They be here in Vietnam, and they also want to expand the business. So UOB, I think we also all know that it is kind of like in the top 3 biggest bank in the Southeast Asia. In Vietnam, for the retail market, they try to set their foothold in, and they need to compete with all of the local banks there with very advanced technologies. And so I joined the UOB with the ambitions also to leverage the technology from Singapore and to adapt it into the Vietnamese market, and to yes, I think also work more like a startup bank. So I think with the sponsors as big as the UOB Singapore, but the battle in Vietnam is more like a startup. And then when everything is going well, you heard the news about UOB acquiring the retail business of Citibank in Vietnam and other countries as well in Southeast Asia. I decided to move to Heineken. So that is a brief introduction for me, so that you understand that I've been working through mostly a lot in the digital world of finance or fintech, as you already saw. But also, I didn't see myself as a banker, because a lot of my friends ask me like, okay, friend, you work in a bank, do you know the what is the current rates? Are you helping us with the lending? I said, no, I'm a digital one. So I work on the digital banking products. I work in the innovation stuff. So the fintech industry actually is also a very trending, emerging trend recently in the, I think, in the whole world and also in the region. And because we all know that digital and technology is always part of the bank's business. So recently, usually the big banks are the one who driving the innovation forward for the banking industry. Most of the technologies, most of the new stuff were born in a bank. And unlike maybe someone would think that, okay, banks are just a very bureaucratic and slow mover, but actually most of the innovation came from there because they have the resources and they are, I think, the dominant forces in the financial industry. Until very recently, I think, yes, around the 2010s, around like that, with the advance of technology and with the startup, suddenly people with digital and technology capability can now solve financial problems with the technologies. You don't need to work for a bank to do so anymore. It's not an excluded area. So people flock into the fintech industry, and so we refer to fintech now as a term used for the startup. Actually, fintech is the term to use a broad way in technology solving financial problem. But mostly now people talk about the startup. And because of that change in the dynamic, companies outside of the banking sector can now solve financial problems with technology, with digital capabilities. Banks need to look back at them, and then it's not really like they kill the bank industry yet. No, I don't think that it will ever happen. But then the bank need to work with them to evolve into a kind of an ecosystem. And I recently, when I joined like a fintech conference in Singapore, it's very eye-opening for me when I saw like on the stage, you saw like a panel talk with like some like high-ranking managers from a bank within a full suit, very old, very veteran, sitting and talking on, I think, with like a representative from a startup, a CDO who's very young, in a polo shirt with jean, and such an image is never before seen, I think, before in the banking industry. And I think that's also the same image that's happening around the world, around the on every other sectors as well. I talk most about bank because I worked there the whole time, but you saw it in all over the areas where the startup, the new generation, the millennials, the is using technologies to disrupt the markets, and sometimes they can like replace the incumbents. Sometimes, well, like the banks, they need to they force them to work in collaboration. But it is the new way that the world is working now. Everyone can gain access to technology and then use it to solve the problems of the customers, and then become a force to be reckoned with. There is it's not only the place for big corporates anymore. So that's just why I think digital innovation field is become very, very exciting, and it opened new opportunities for a lot of us. And so you see that the estimation for the digital field, sometimes people talk about digital fields. It's not actually like an industry, right? There's such a things as an digital industry. Digital is just more like a field in every industry where all of the industry in the world need to go digitalized, need to be transformed, need to do innovation stuff. But the value of the digital field is actually quite high, and it can be double in the 2025. And just talking in the fintech industry, in the financial industry, the revenue has increased double percent, 100% since 2017. There are a lot of startup fintechs around the world. The fintech industry is just booming, and that is something that I think that all of us feel in our normal life, because in our normal life we saw we see innovation that replacing the old stuff, right? We see that Uber and Grab replacing the old taxi model. We see online ticketing replace the normal model of agency. We can see the online banking now as a daily normal mode of banking. To my parents, banking means to go out to a nearby bank branch and then meet with an agent, a relationship manager there to handle all of their problems. They need to transfer money. Yes, come to there, bring the cash. Now we feel like cash is sometimes an old thing, and we can do everything on our phone. So again, because we saw all of this, all of the industry are now disrupted. All of the industry become digitalized, and it opened, I think, a whole new set of opportunity for us. And so I go through some of the, I think, very innovations trend around the world you might heard. So the advance of technology means that there's now a lot of solutions, a lot of the I think hot trend that you heard. So, for example, in the banking industry, we talk about eKYC, where you can use AI to KYC to know your customer. So, identify a customer just by using the phone. So the customer doesn't need to go to the branch to open a bank account anymore, which seems to be simple in some country until you found out that in 5 years ago this is something unrealistic. We talk about multi-cloud, where companies can use cloud services of different providers that link everything of them together. We talk about the Internet of Things and edge computing. The Internet of Things, the ability to connect things that normally not being connected into a network, so that you can have a smart camera, a smart fridge, smart refrigerator, smart everything. And then the advances of AI, which is, yes, a lot of story about how AI replacing us is not true yet, because it's not there. But a lot of the things that we do nowadays actually doing by AI. Very recently, I have a phone call from an internet provider that I'm using to ask about just like a quality check, to ask about my satisfaction. And the one that talked to me through the phone is actually an AI. I didn't recognize that it was an AI until some time when I talk. I feel like the conversation are too perfect for for a person to do. That's where I realized that, wow, I'm talking to an AI. That is something that I know. I knew the technology is there. I work with the provider as well, but to feel it in the normal life is something a lot different. And we talk about omni-channel and blockchain. Definitely, I think is all around the news about cryptocurrency. But blockchain as technology has a lot of other applications. So when we see the innovations and we see the technology, sometimes a lot of time a question were raised. If I'm not a developer, for instance, if I'm not a technology person, if I'm not an IT person, can I join in that trend? Can I join in the digital world and be successful in that field? And I said yes. That is also the question that a lot of people come to me, because I came from a business background, and okay, I work in the digital field. Do I know all of this? Can I code in a computer? They said, nah, not really. And actually, not at all. I'm not a software developer. And so that's why, if I look at the whole talents, the whole picture of the people that I'm working with right now, in previously in the digital bank industry, and now in the food and beverage industry, but in the digital field, there are actually three overlapping roles that we play. I call this the Holy Trinity. That it come back to what we see here is that everything need to have a business. And underneath that business, you sell a product, a digital product. Maybe that product is a service. So in this context, I can buy the product and the services. And then underneath that product or service is a solution. And each of them will be handled, specialized by a role. And this is the, I can say, the Holy Trinity. So of technology, business, and design. And this is to showcase that there are places for all of us, regardless of our background or regardless of whether we are an IT guy or not, we can still have places in the digital field, because each of those roles play very different, not very differently, but yeah, they specialize in one thing to ensure that the digital business is successful, the digital transformation is successful. So who are they? So when we look at that and we see that, well, we have business, we have design, and we have tech. And the business is the one that can sell anything. The one that tech that run the business model and get the money. The design, or sometimes we refer to the as a product, is the one that design everything that the business need in order to run that business. And the tech and the technology is all of the people that can actually build the things, materialize it into what the business can sell from the prototype, the design of the design people. And so you see here that all of them need to know some things a little bit about the others, because now they work in the digital field, right? If you a business in the purely order fields, then it's fine. But in the digital field, the business, they know about business, but they also need to know about product, a little bit about technology. The design, the product is the one that serves as a bridge between the business and the technology. And the technologies also understand business, understand the product, while master the technology capabilities. So these are the three roles, three set of roles actually, because in each of the roles there will be a lot of small jobs, job categories. So I will go in detail later. But here, if you look at a startup in a fintech, or like in a digital, or like in a digital department in a big companies, in the big banks, in a big insurance company, even in an FMCG companies, you saw all of these people. So it's not just the IT people, not just the one that stick to the computer and just coding. All of these people are handling the digital field in the companies, in the startup. And so we go first with the business owner. So who are they, and then what characteristic that if you define yourself with, then you will fit with the role of the business owner. So the business owner is the one that do all the commercialization, the one that take the product and do the business development, find an opportunity to sell it. They govern and control the business model. They work with the partnership. They identify the partners and then get the deal and how the whole things work. They, for some solution provider company, they also serve the role of the sales, that they come around looking for customer who want to have the solution, and then they connect that with their company to sell the product. There is the one who do the marketing, the one that who are tasked to gain traction when you launch a new app, that you need to have tractions and scale it up. So these are the business people. They can come with a lot of names. Different companies will have different job titles and job description. That's fine. But you can understand that this field, this business owner, the skill that they need to be good at numbers, as in the way of financial number. They need to sense opportunities very quickly, and then they need to convince people to join the cause and manage all of the people of technology, the people of product, the people of design, the people that can do the jobs that they cannot do. and they need to understand the market, understand the customers. And without them, the products are nothing. It is just a solution on the shelf, and nothing can happen there. And so if you feel like you're good at business, it's fine. If you're good at business and you don't know about IT, that's fine. You can still become a business owner in the digital field. You can still launch an app successfully without even know how to code that app, or how to even like what is all of the technology jargons underneath that. And these people are very important, because without them there is no revenue coming back. So if the business owner know the markets and they know what the customer want, who is the one who design everything? And we come to the part of the field of design, the product architecture. So you may hear about some of the job title on the market, like product owner, business analyst, data analyst, UX UI designer. I will talk about it in detail later, or project managers. And all of those roles, although they will do certain tasks specialized for them, they will fit into the group of the product architectures, that how you design a product, how you design a service. So it is just not a graphic design, or it is just like design and interface. Actually, how you design the whole things that can help the business owner to run the business model. So, for example, I will go with the example also later, but we'll just take a very crude example of you launch a new digital banking app, then someone need to design that app. And in the way of, as a product owner of that digital banking app, I govern the features of that. I govern how the process flow. I govern of how the look and feel will look like. All of these things, the design of that digital product or digital service. So the skills that you need in this role is that you need to be logical, that's for sure, but you also need to be very good at empathy, in understand human psychology, in the way that the way that the customer can gain value or can solve their pain points. For example, if you design an app, definitely you need to understand the pain points of that customer, so that your app, all of the features can solve that pain points easily. In order to do so, you cannot just like, okay, there is technology, I need to implement it. No, it's the other ways around. I understand the pain points, what kind of technology that I can use to solve that. You need to be good at design thinking. This is a new way of thinking in the recent years. It's become very popular now. And you are good at communication, because you need to connect the business and the technology. You understand the business need to do this and this and this in order to gain revenue, but you also understand that technology has its restriction, for example, or has some opportunity potential to do something. So you need to be good at communication to connect those set of people. And you also need to be good at project management. If you work as a project manager, in order to run the whole project smoothly, in order to launch the app, like I said, use the example, or to get the project going. So that is the part of the design. So I especially I work as a product in that product owner field for quite a time. And I don't know, like I mentioned, I don't know technology. I'm also not a salesperson, but I'm the bridge between those two group of people, so that I can make sure that whatever the things that we design, whatever the things that we create, the blueprint that we but we take to the developers, it will create a value for the business people, and create a value for the customers. And so the last part of the trinity is, of course, technology. Those are, I think, is the last but definitely not least, or would I say that the most, maybe sometimes the most important, because they the one who build the thing, actually build it, actually provide a solution. So many of you will saw some as a software developers, and even in software developers, there are a whole, I don't know, hundreds of different kind of software developer. It also depends on the front end, the back end, on the languages that you use. So also about QC, QA, the tester, the one that ensure the quality of everything is running good. You talk about the data scientists who are doing a lot of job to creating the AI to run all of the with the AI innovations recently, the solution architecture, or even the support, the operation that maintain the digital product or the digital services after it was launched. So if you definitely, the technology is a field that requires specialization and specific knowledge, right? So if you're good at technology, if you graduate from an engineer school, then definitely, yes, this field is for you. You're good at computer science, you're good at logical thinking, and solving the problem, because now you're the expert in turning something from zero to something. So if you're really a tech guys or girls, you know that. So this is the field for you. But to work in the digital industry, again, as I mentioned, you also need to understand part of the business, understand part of the product that you building on, because you just not like, I receive an order to build something and then I build it blindly. In the new way of working in a digital world, you work very closely with all of the people from business and design to make sure that whatever you build is create the values that the business people can use to run business. So these are the last piece that connect the trinity. The three group of peoples, we work together in the digital field to ensure that the business of the digital product will go smoothly. And of course, like I mentioned, that in different companies, different countries as well, different organization and cultures, there will be different titles, different job description. And sometimes you may ask, I think that role should fit into technology rather than into product, or you can say, yeah, this should be the business side. It's normal, because I mentioned there will be a lot of overlapping. Sometimes you talk about a software developer who can code the front end, but also can do a lot of the task of the UX designer. So in some company, the business analyst can also create the design, or he or she can also run the partnership and work with and work on the business model as well. And that's normal. But it is just it just means that whatever areas that you identify yourself with, that you think that you're good with, you can also move into other areas as well. In this new digital world, I saw software developers who gradually feel like, as I'm working on some of the digital product, I feel like I prefer to talk to customer more, to work on the draw map and the features of it more than actually coding it. So I see myself moving to the role of the product owner. into the design field, into the product field, and then I learned new skills. But it easier to transit in this world, in because the Holy Trinity work together to create the business. So sometimes, yes, even the coder, the software developer can move to the business role as well. A lot of the leader in the commercialization in the big corporates has actually come from they come from being an IT guy. They come from being a tester, but they can start to, because they work on the product and they're familiar with the business, they move to the other areas, or vice versa. Business can also become design, can also become technology. So it's not fixed. It just means that there are places for you. If you're good at numbers, there are places for you. If you're good at technologies, there are places for you. If you're good at creativity and empathy with the customer, yes, there are still places for you there. And I mentioned the design thinking, and this is a new methodology that also in sync with this whole digital talent requirements. The design thinking is a methodology that say, basically, I will paraphrase in my understanding, my term, is that normally you build everything from the beginning. You just go and build it, and you put a lot of resources in building something. The design thinking said you should think as a designer, and you should need to understand and empathize and define the problem, the pain points that you need to solve first. Go out, reach out, understand first, before doing anything. And then you try to ideate a solution and build a prototype as fast as possible. Prototype means something that work, but not like whole things, complete things, because there's no perfect things in the digital world. So build a prototype and then test it as quickly as possible to get the feedback, and then use that feedback to continuously improve the product, improve the services, and then implement that. So why the design thinking go in sync with all of this? You saw that in this picture, there's a roles for all of the people in the Holy Trinity to empathize and define the needs and the problems. You need to understand the market. You need to understand the business. To ideate, to prototype, you need to have technology to build up something, but you also need blueprint. You need the product, the UX UI designer to come in and to test it with the real customers. So the whole digital world now requires the collaboration of the three roles in order to run successfully. There is no working in silo anymore. There's no working in separate module, and just like I have the big plans, side it off, turn it into the other departments, and that department will handle it. But everything needs to work for together. And so I will go with some of the real cases that we use, that I used to choose and to see like how all of them work together. So take, for example, the buy now, pay later. It's a new trend in the fintech industry. Now in Vietnam, there's now also a lot of companies jumping in that. Basically, customer can make a purchase at the merchant, and the buy now, pay later is, I can say, this is like an online micro lending that the financial provider will give that customer a small credit so that he or she can buy the product from the merchant and pay later as an installment loan. It sounds like things, it's quite simple, but underneath that is a very complex processes. And so how everyone work on that? So definitely the technology is that you need to build the application for the merchants to use, for the customers to use. You need to build a backend system with the AI to quickly give credit, assess the credit of that customer, right? And then make the decision to whether if I give them a loan to cover their purchases. So this whole thing is a technology things, but how to make sure that the process is smooth and is attractive to the customer. I don't want to make a purchase and then I wait for 4 days or 3 days to get back the result. Um, I don't want to use that app without if it is like too clunky or it is very complex for me because I just want to buy now and pay later. So that's the job of the product designer who design the process, who design the app, and determine how the flow should work between the merchant and the customer. So in some cases, then the whole thing can work because the financial providers will pay the merchant first. So underneath, they will pay the merchants, and then they will ask the loan back from the customer later. That is the job of the product design, who on paper will draw out the whole things so that the technology know, okay, I need to build this module and this module. I need to build the API for the connection between the merchants and the financial providers, and also on the app of, like, for example, on an e-commerce side. And but then even like you have the process, you have the product, you have the technology, if no merchant join this whole business model, nothing work. If customer do not know about it, they will still use credit card to pay for the transaction. And that's where the business actually came in and say, okay, we see that this model very good, have a great potential. I can identify the merchants that's suitable for us, suitable for our customer segment. I will go out, I will talk with them, make a deal with them, determine the margin. I can work out a plan to use this product and technology to become the market leader in this field. That was a job of the business. The technology, they build up the things, but they cannot sell it alone. Without the business, the whole things will never work. The same things I mentioned, the eKYC, right? It's a technology. You feel like it's a technology, pure technology, that I can use the AI to capture the image of my face and then capture my ID, and then it will match them together and see if I'm a real person or the same person. The technology is definitely there. You have the team that building the application, that building the AI, all of the algorithms, teaching it to learn how to use image processing capabilities to do the job. That's technology. But then the difference is that all of the banks can have that technology, but who will design the process? Who will design the experience of the customer? Will they take the picture first, or will they take the image of the faces first? Is there any other ways that they can, that the process will be smooth? If I already do the things, but it fail me, like the AI detect that the image and the image on the ID and the on my face are not the same. How can I tell the customer? How can I drive them into another processes so that I can ensure that I can still onboard that customer? That whole thing will be the job of the product and the design to do so. The technology, they just build the AI there. That's it. But then again, with all of this technology, what will be the value proposition, what would be the model, the business model, the business owner need to come in and say, okay, actually, I can partner with some of the other companies in the field. For example, in telecommunication, they already have some kind of data from the customer. Maybe I can partner with them so that we can open the account easier, even easier. Or I can, if I can open this, what is the business model will look like? Will I charge the customer more or less? Will I do it for free? How can I roll it out so that people cannot be like perplexed by the new technology? Because sometimes customers feel like, okay, is it less secure if I open the account through the phone? Or sometimes they just want more. A lot of these things need to be handled by the business to ensure that, yes, we have the technology, we have the product. How can we get the profit from that? And so, like example, in the previous bank that I joined, there's the whole a set of people that handle the business that work very closely with me, and they don't know about the technology. If you ask them to explain how the AI work, so that it can tell that the person in the image and the person that captured the face is the same person, they don't know. They cannot explain it. They don't know how it works, but they know how to commercialize that. And so that is how some of the example of the way that in real cases, all of them work together to launch the new innovation, launch the new app, the new website, the new services. You need the combination of all. And so if you want to go in with to become a digital person in the digital fields, then I think one of the most popular model, for example, from McKinsey, is the T-shaped person. Can be applied here. You need to pick a specialization to go deep. On the letter T to go deep. Maybe it's a hard skill like coding, programming, data analytics if you go into tech, or product design, UX, UI design if you go into design, or marketing, or social media, or business development, if you go into business. So you need to pick one to go deep, but you also need to understand others, to understand the skills from others, other trinities as well. You need to understand, if you are a business person, you need to understand technology a little bit, product a little bit more, or if you technology people, you also need to understand the product to go broad, which means you will not go deep in all of these, but you need to understand a lot of these. That I think is a new reality of this world of digital. If you work in that holy trinity, you cannot work in silo as a silo person anymore. And the soft skill, definitely you need to have a lot of soft skill. Depends on the job description. I would not go, and this is like the whole things around the every job will require different kind of soft skill. But I think personally, in this holy trinity in digital field, if you work in one of them, the common soft skill that you will need is the collaboration, because you see that for example, that you need to work together very closely and repeatedly. There will be no I finish my job and then the rest will be yours. No, because we need to continuously build up testing and then get the values from that. Empathy is that because you need to understand customer, that for sure, but you need to also understand the work of others as well. Adaptability is it is sometimes, like I mentioned, because this world is advancing too rapidly. Without adaptability, you will lose control. You will feel a sense of losing control because something you know in the past may not work now, and sometimes you need to adapt in a new role as well. For example, if you work as a sometimes you work as a business analyst, you also start to look at UX design, and you cannot say, oh, that's not my job. I'm not here for that, because everything will intertwine with each other. And finally, creativity, I think, is also the result of this whole changing world. Uh, New things will continue to come up on the horizon. So you need to have creativity to be ready. You need to make new things, otherwise you will be losing on this race of innovation. So those, I think, is the soft skill that anyone that want to work on the digital field will need, um, uh, regardless of where they want to join on the Trinity. And based on their specific job, then they will need all the soft skill or the hard skill as well. But remember always to go as a T-shape, pick something to go deep, but always learn new things, all the things that all the people work with you learn and absorb those knowledge into that broad horizontal of the T piece of the T shape. So I would like to go a little bit more detail on the part of the UX designer, mainly because I used to create a team of UX designer in the past bank, and I have a lot of interest in this field. So this job, this kind of career, belong to the part of the design in the Holy Trinity. There's a huge demand of UX UI designer job in the market since 10 years ago, in the past decades, and it's continue to increase, not decrease very soon, because people start to learn the importance of a good experience. Companies now pay more attention to the customer experience than previously to just purely technology. I got the technology, but that's not enough. You already know, right? The technology is just one piece of that. So UX UI designer is become more and more attractive, and so you many of the in the field, graphic designers start to learn the skill sets to become the UX designer. And sometimes software developer, as I mentioned, especially front end developer, also learn new skill to become the UX designer. So even if you are from outside the industry, you can still learn the new skill set to become the UX designer. And basically, there's the UX designer is the one that create the experience. He or she will map out the process, working very closely with the product owner to ensure that the flow of the users can be most convenient, can be the smoothest for them to accomplish their objective. And they use a lot of the tool set, a lot of the skill that it will take the whole, I don't know, a lot of time to go through. But I just want to emphasize that this is a demanding jobs that also easy, not really, I say it easy to gain entry in. Of course, it's difficult to be the master, but it's easy to gain entry in, whether you if you already familiar yourself with the technology, with the digital world, if you're a graphic designer, if you're a software developer, you product owner, even if when you come from the business side, but just to put yourself in the shoe of the customer and then design the process to fit their pain points and to get their values, then you can become the UX designer. So I would say that this definitely should pay attention to this field, and if you are interested in that, you can learn to do it yourself quite faster than normally. Like, or if, for example, if you want to become a software developer, there are a lot of things you need to learn more than the UX designer. So just to put it in your mind, I think that concludes the some of the piece of knowledge that I want to transfer to you about the whole overview picture of the digital talent. So it should be the Q&A that I think we'll review more interesting stuff.
Okay, thank you so much, Phan. This is really insightful and also fruitful information that you have shared to us. So I believe a lot of questions that's coming in now. So now it's time to have Q&A. We do still have time. Okay, so I'm going to start from the first one. I'm scrolling all the questions that come. The first one comes from Thomas. Okay, you ready, Phan? Or do you want to take like a little bit of breath after having a lot of presentations? Okay, I think we are going to direct for the first question from Thomas. So, Phan, so how do you integrate the usage of blockchain in the business of Heineken?
Oh, interesting questions. To be fair, I can answer that, but I cannot answer that in a way that I think will not break the rule of confidentiality of my company. But I can briefly say that the blockchain technology has more of the usage than just crypto, and especially just like crypto trading. When people the majority of people now, when we talk about blockchain, they instantly think about Bitcoin and all of the coins around that. But it's, for example, we also can use the NFT, also something that a lot of people think about trading just for that. But Heineken actually already launched an NFT of the Heineken beer, I think, in the UK very recently. I think some months ago. We also build up like a metaverse project now that utilize the NFT technology so that you can come in and then also own part of this. So I think that a lot of these things I cannot review it. However, it back to the principle that I talked before. The blockchain itself, it's just a piece of technology. When it comes to the companies, just as Heineken, we need to look at the use cases, the business value that it generates. So that's not the job of the technologist, like pure sense anymore. That people in the business side, people in the product side, the design side, need to sit together with technologies and then saying, okay, we know the technology is there. How we would work in a grand scheme of marketing, for example, or will we use this to launch that new line of beer, for example, just example, then maybe we can use that to leverage that in all of this. So that's, again, the work of everyone. It is just not, okay, because blockchain is the new thing that we need to do it. So perhaps that might answer your question.
Okay. Yeah, I know, because the conversation of non-fungible token these days, it's really happening at the moment. So let's see how it goes with the NFT thing. Okay, we are going to the next question. Is robotic processing automation, or RPA, is a part of artificial intelligence or AI?
Very technical questions.
Yeah.
So okay, is in some way is not really. I think in the most common way of using RPA, we use the robot to replace the job that are repetitive and manual, which means that you already kind of know how the jobs will look like. Like, okay, normally a person need to go in this computer, open a document, look at that field and see, is it the same as that document, and then they type in the word matched, for example, and then they send that Excel file to someone. This is like a very repetitive job. And then you can use a robot, we say a robot, but in a software sense, a software to go in and do exactly the job like that. It can use some of the AI capability, for example, the OCR, so that they can read the scanned document and then translate that document into text on the computer. But they will not, saying in the AI sense, they would not learn new things. They would not learn to do it better and better. They do exactly as a task would be. But because in the whole world business, majority will be repetitive and manual tasks like that, RPA will have a huge application, even if it is not, for me, it is not AI to say in that sense.
Right. Okay. Again, this is going to be like the really technical conversation, because these days everything, some of the application use the AI, okay, so to make our life even easier as well. But again, I know that some of the audience are here, they are really interested with some of the technical. So yeah, so
Sure.
Phan are going to explain even a bit more through another questions that I'm going to send it to you. Okay, so this one again regarding about your company, but it's not really technical. So does your company offer a regular training or capacity building to its employee to ensure everyone's digital skill is up to date? Because again, related to the digital, regarding with the technology, everything changing all the time or every single minute. So what do you think about this one, Fan?
Yes, I can share that from, I mean, on the whole market. I saw the movement to go digital upskilling. A lot of especially I mean, big corporates, they start investing a lot of resources into the upskilling for the digital knowledge for all of the employee, not just the IT department, not just the digital department. Those departments are the one that require the least investment for that sense. But yes, there are now jobs specifically assigned to do so, because the digital, yes, you meant the digital is like a new language of the new age. Even if you work in the, I don't know, procurement, that field, that normally you do the job that you did for 20 years, the whole thing will be disrupted by digital and technology very soon. Like the RPA we mentioned, a lot of the manual tasks will be replaced by robot. So yes, if you're like you're a 20-year experienced person, you will be the one that need the most about digital upskilling. And we say that it either upskilling, so it means that you kind of like work in that field and then you upskill with the new knowledge of the most up-to-date knowledge, or reskilling, which means that I work in this field for quite a time, but now I want to work in the digital field because this is, I feel like I don't know, it's more attractive there. How can I reskill myself? What is the skill set that I need to be either in the business or in the product or in the technology trinity? Then the companies, big corporates also now having a lot of investment to do so for the employees.
Right. Okay. Let's continue because we do still have 7 minutes to go. Another question, from your experience, what's the main challenges in bringing the Holy Trinity together, especially because everyone comes from different background?
Yes, I think people is now the communication part, I think, is the most challenging. But luckily, there's also a lot of models, a lot of best practices to do so. One you also familiar now is the agile methodology, for example, or the product design, the design thinking methodology I just share. Um, it will revolve around, instead of working as department and department, you work in team, in SWAT, in we call tribe, where you have a teams of a specialized person from each of the trinity. You have the product in, you have the business in, you have the technology in. That's what can work to launch a completely new product, and you can multiple SWAT like that. So it's not department working with department anymore. It is how I can take the person from department, take this person from department, get them into a team, work very closely with each other. It is one of the practices that can solve the challenging part of communication.
Right. Okay. And then another one. Do you have any advice to those who want to switch career to tech or fintech industry?
So again, it depends on where you switch it from, right? So if you're saying, if you like, I don't know, I saw people who are relationship manager in a bank who usually sell mortgage and auto loans to become the product owner of a digital lending product. You saw the synergies there, right?
Yeah.
It a bit easier, but if, for example, saying you from a completely new industry and also completely different role, and then you want to jump in, I think that the advice is just that you need to learn new skills and to be to be prepared for all of the new things. But the lucky part is that because everyone now is also learning new things, so it's not like a few excluded to those who have 10-year 15-year experience. So I think that I think my advice is just to try to get into that industry as soon as possible, and you can choose I personally I would advise I would recommend the product field on the Holy Trinity. Then you pick the product. Technology, well, like I mentioned, you need to invest a lot in that. Product one, there you can apply a lot of skills in there to either work with business or work with technology. So it's easy to get in there. You can start with the startup. They kind of like open for young talent even more, and you can get exposure better there.
Right, right. I think this one is really what is it? Correlate with the question that we just delivered. So this one is question from Heras Duriska. So I was a banker as well, so taken courses on product management already. How can I convince HR for an interview, since mostly asking experiences in technology?
So okay, yes, like I think this fit perfectly. I think the first thing is that actually also need to understand the whole things like this, and so they need to value the skills that you get from the business side, and then you bring into the field, whatever field that you're applying for. Definitely would be more difficult to saying I'm a banker and then now I want to become a software developer. That's for sure. But like I mentioned, recommend to try with the product first. If you jump from business, try to go with the product first, and then frame the whole things around customer experience, because you're the one who know the customer the most. So you like you want to convince them, then you need to show them that you have advantages that the other products owner don't have, or saying a software developer will not have, is that you know the customer, you know their pain points, and you can point out the things that you know that will be good for the customer. And that's very convincing. Personally, when I look for product owner role, I also look at those the person that work closely with the customers, because they know the stuff that even I need to spend a lot of time to understand. So they just need to learn the skill of the product owner. Then they can immediately on board on the task, rather than I look for someone with a lot of technical abilities, but then they know nothing about the customer. They out of realities.
Yeah.
So you should pick that frame to showcase your advantage.
There you go. Hopefully it delivers the answer for Hera Suriska. So now we have the very final question. So how is your view on the future and sustainability working in digital startup for the future?
For digital, I would say that, okay, again, all of the jobs around the world, if you're good at it, you will stay there for a long time. If you're not good, then there's no hot job. But for digital, because you saw that technology and digital, it will always be there. It is just not now that we in more demand of that. So I think I can say safely for a decade more, then yes, you're safe to go there. Startup is a different story, because startup in general, we know that the failure of the startup rate is quite high, right? It's sometimes you work in the unicorn, and then sometimes you work in a company that like 2 or 3 years you go bankrupt. No one can tell. But startup itself is also a good opportunity to get exposure, like I mentioned. So if you want to go in, startup will and maybe the best choice, because you need to learn a lot there, and you can also play the roles, multiple roles there, because sometimes yes, the trinity, but they don't have any of the trinity. You need to learn the skill of the three of them, and you need to work the work of three of them. So after working in a startup, then you can have more experience, more exposure. Then you can come to a big corporate if you want, or you can go open a startup yourself, or you can work on another one. So I would say that startup is a risky investment, but is it worth it, especially if you new to the field.
Right, right. Okay, and there you go. That was the very last sentence from Phan with our session, The Holy Trinity of Digital Talent, Biz, Product, and Technology. Phan, thank you so much for today's session. It's really, really insightful that we have you here. And then hopefully all the best with your work and also your next project. And then whatever you might do or might be doing at the moment. So once again, thank you so much. And then I'll see you very soon, Phan.
Okay, thanks a lot, Molly. Thanks a lot of all the audience here, and I hope you will have a great career ahead in the field and in the digital field. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, Phan.
Goodbye.
Okay, now I think I'm going to invite my lovely colleague to be here. So we have Selvin to join us and also to have a chat before we do the closing. What a day, okay, for today. Oh, hello, Selvin.
Hi, Molly. I want to give a big round of applause for you and for Fan. Oh my God, what an interesting topic to cover. And we had such a fruitful discussion just now. Thank you
Exactly.
so much,
So
Fan.
yeah, we have a lot of what is it like a takeout to be discussed at the moment before we do the closing. So since
Yeah.
you you are the person who opened a morning session, you had a great conversation also with Sperindo. So how is it?
Yes, so it's been such an amazing day, and yeah, I think we almost reached the end of today's event, but we want to thank everyone involved in this event. We're so thankful for your participation, and we hope everyone here, the job seekers, young professionals, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have experienced a nice job hunting through this event and you got the best of what we have presented to you. And Molly, one more thing, there is a good news. The number of applications on the WUVA platform has been increased today from 312, from what I have informed in the beginning of the event, to 460.
There you go. Amazing numbers. Hang on. There you go. Yeah, because what I know, of course, I think we have like a more than 1,400 registrants to this event because again, we have a really packed session, not only with the workshop that we just had, but also with the company pitch in the morning, and then roundtable and also one-on-one session. Of course, this event not both of us only, but behind us there is a lot of team that work together, so thank you so much, the committee. You've been working really hard, guys, from
Yes.
morning, afternoon into night, and then go to morning again, and then to promote this event, and also to all the universities partner and sponsor. And again, I cannot thank you enough for the companies who are participating for this year. So we have 15 companies. If I would like to recap, hold on one second, because I have
Mhm.
so many notes over here regarding about the, what is it, about the company that participate for this year. Okay, so we have a Pondera, Kraft Heinz, Hire, the Water Agency, Superindo, NetSpice, Citify, and then BACA, East West Seed, and then Sam Media, and then Kirok, and also hold on one moment. Let me try because this is kind of like the abbreviation. I just don't want to, what is it, mention like in the wrong way. Cornerstone Group. There you go. And then we have the Netherlands Thai Chamber of Commerce. There you go. Another one, we do have the Dutch Business Association of Vietnam. Look at that. Okay. Not only Indonesian company, but also around Southeast Asia. What a wonderful
Yes.
event.
Wow. So hats off to all the committee. And once again, thanks so much to all companies and partners who have been working hand in hand with us. All right. So one more thing before we close today's event, don't miss out the upcoming events and also job vacancies information on your WUVA platform that you may still access up to the upcoming 6 months to keep you updated. All right. So I think we covers everything, Molly.
Yes. Done and dusted. So
Yes.
it's been a long day for all of us, but again, congratulations, not for all of us, but also to the job seekers. Hopefully, you are get successful with your job application as well.
Yes. All right. So it's time for us to signing off. It's myself and Janita and my colleague.
My name is Muhammad Maulana Taufik Ormali. We are signing off.
So stay safe, stay healthy, and bye bye.
Have a great weekend, guys. Thank you so much.